Hello communication students, this is Dr. Sloan with a tutorial about creating an APA 6th edition paper in Microsoft Word. I'll explain how to create an APA style cover page, first page of content. I'll address some formatting issues regarding font and spacing, and then finally I'll create an APA style reference page. So my first step is to make sure that my margins are correct. So in APA style, I need to make sure that all margins are 1-inch margins. So if you click normal, it will do that. Typically if you open Word, it's automatically set in 1-inch margins. Then I need to double click into the header, and in APA style you have the phrase running head only on the first page. For that reason, my first step is to click different first page. Then I'm going to insert my page number. The page number will align to the right side of the page, and then I begin typing my running head. Once I've created the running head and the title, I click Tab, and you'll see that my page number is aligned right and the R in running head is aligned to the left. Note again that, or note capitalization here in my running head. The R is capitalized, the H in head is not capitalized, and the title of my paper here is in all caps. The next step before you are finished with your running head is to make sure that you are using Times New Roman size 12 font. From there, you can click out of the running head because you have finished that component of your paper. The next step is to type the title of your paper, your name, and the title of your university. Since this is an APA style paper, I am going to highlight that and again make sure it's in Times New Roman, size 12 font, and make sure it's double spaced. The next thing I need to do is make sure that this is centered and nearly centered on the page. So in APA style, it's almost exactly halfway, but the title and your name and your university actually hang out a little bit towards the top. One weird thing about APA is when you're double spacing and then you hit enter and you go down to the next line, it actually creates more space between the first line and the second than just double spacing. So if just to show you what that would look like, my cursor is here at the end of the title, and if I hit remove space after paragraph, then this is actually what double spacing looks like, and this is double spacing and a half. So you can just go and click remove after each one. You can highlight it and click line spacing options and make sure it's all 0. So there's a couple ways to make sure that you're getting rid of that extra spacing. But if you get feedback from an instructor and it says double spacing only, it's because Microsoft Word has some weird formatting things that you have to learn how to overcome. So now that I have a perfect APA style cover page, the next thing I'll do is begin my first page of content. To do that, I'm going to click Insert Page Break. And this is actually a lot quicker than clicking space, 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 and it saves you time in terms of formatting, because if you change something or alter something, if you're not space barring from one page to another, then you can't mess up your formatting. Our first step to an effective first page of content is to insert our header. So to do that, double click into the header space, go to page number, and be sure that you select the page number that aligns to the right of the page. On our content pages in APA style, we do not have the phrase running head. That only goes on the cover page. So here I will type the title of my paper in all caps, and I click tab, and that helps the all caps title of paper align left and my page number stays to the right. I highlight everything and make sure it's Times New Roman, size 12 font, and then I can click out of the header. Now that I've created an APA style running head, cover page, and header for my first content page, now I can begin working on my actual content. So the first line of my content page is actually the title of my paper, and that is not bolded. And then I can begin writing an effective introduction. So remember, an introduction begins with an attention-grabbing statement. You may choose to support that sentence with an explanation or some more compelling information, and then write a clear, specific thesis statement, and you will follow that with a preview sentence. If you would like a refresher on what makes for an effective thesis statement or preview, be sure to visit the Useful Comms Documents folder, which has a lot of information about effective thesis and preview sentences. Once I've completed my introduction, now I can go on to my first main point. I need to create a header, or a heading, I'm sorry, for my first main point. And headings in APA style are bolded. So make sure that you are bolding your headings, not the title. And just because I want for you guys to hear this as often as possible, the way that I would kick off my first main point is to front load that sentence. Front loading is basically a way that the first sentence of any paragraph kind of summarizes the content of that paragraph. So I front load that paragraph, and write supporting information, share quotes, write sentences. So that's what I'm going to do over and over as a way to explain my first point. And do not be shy about using various paragraphs within a heading. So if I address one idea here, and this is a second idea that relates to my first main point, then I would need to start a new paragraph. And that is really helpful for what is called reader's fatigue, because the eye knows that all of this content goes together, and I can read all of this content, and then my eye can take a break and I can begin reading about a new idea. So after I've addressed my first main point, then I would move on to a heading for my second main point. And I would do all of that content again, where I'm front loading and I'm supporting information and I'm sharing quotes and I'm writing sentences with my own ideas. So this is what an APA style paper looks like in terms of formatting in Microsoft Word. Something that we addressed already is that we need to make sure that the line spacing is a double spacing and nothing extra. So just to make sure that's happening, I might hit Control A, which highlights everything in my paper, and I go to line spacing options, and I need to make sure this says 0 and OK, and that will adjust any extra spacing that Microsoft Word created, especially between headings and between one paragraph and another paragraph. So just be aware that once you tell Microsoft Word that you want the paper to be double spaced, that doesn't mean that Microsoft Word won't insert some extra spacing. It constantly has these extra spaces, and so the way around that is to make sure that the line spacing before and after is 0. So that means 0 extra spacing. It's just doing double spacing throughout the paper. The final thing that we're going to look at in this tutorial is how to write an APA style reference page. So my next step is to insert a page break, and I'm going to write the title of my reference page in APA style, the title of my reference page is actually references. It is not reference, it is not works cited, and it is not bibliography. It is references. Then I click Align Left, and I'm going to make up a citation just so that we can see an example. So this is the title of my paper here. Note that the first letter of my title is capitalized and the first letter of my subtitle is capitalized. Nothing else in my title is capitalized except for maybe in an acronym, or if I had a proper noun in my title, then that would also remain capitalized. Then the title of the journal is followed by the volume number and the issue number. And both of those are followed by the page range. So let's say that this tutorial was printed on pages 45 through 56. And if you have a recent journal article, recent being anything in the last years, and anything in the last 5 to 10 years, there's likely a DOI number associated with the article. DOI numbers look pretty crazy and can include symbols and all kinds of things. So be sure to include the DOI number at the end of your citation. In APA style, the journal and the volume number only are italicized. So this right now is nearly a correct APA style citation. The only thing that I need to work on next is what is called a hanging indent. So in APA style, the first line of every citation is flush left and every subsequent line is actually indented. A lot of students just hit tab, but then you have to kind of make sure that if you change something that your formatting wouldn't also change. So the easier way to do that is just to highlight your citation. And again, we're going to go to line spacing options and you're going to go to hanging. So I'm in the special category and I hit hanging and I hit OK. And what that did is that automatically made this a perfect hanging indent. And if you take a minute to tell Word that you want to do a hanging indent, it's smart enough to know that when you do your second citation, you'll notice that it automatically created the hanging indent for you for your second citation. So it really is worthwhile to go ahead and tell Microsoft Word that you instead of just hitting tab or spacing over, go ahead and knowing that you want it to automatically do that hanging indent. And so that's a much easier way than manually doing it for each citation. And just because I want to model things correctly, make sure that your APA style, your references are listed in alphabetical order, as that is what APA style requires. So in this tutorial, you learned how to create APA 6th edition papers in Microsoft Word. You learned what a really great cover page looks like, including running head, which requires different first page, and what content actually goes on your cover page. You learned how to be aware of some formatting issues, including this line spacing thing that Microsoft tries to do for you. We looked at how to do content page headers and title and headings. We talked about even paragraph structure and front loading, and then we also learned how to do APA style references using Microsoft Word. So I hope that this tutorial is useful to you as you endeavor to write really effective APA style papers throughout your time in the communication program. Good luck.